You want to create a newsletter with ClickTip? Here is the appropriate tutorial. My name is René Choppe. I own the agency Automa, and we are experts in dealing with ClickTip. We send over 1,000 emails with our customers in a year. And today I will show you once how you create and send a professional email newsletter with ClickTip. First of all, log in and click on Newsletter and New Newsletter at the top of the tab menu under Campaigns. First of all, we can, of course, the newsletter.letter. Give a name. I like to use the new drag and drop editor for this. There are many more possibilities available to you, so I recommend you to work in this one as well. The name of your newsletter is actually not completely decisive because it is only visible to you and only decisive for your later sorting. This means that numbering with a calendar week with a date or an exact occasion is completely appropriate here. For example, special offer KW 47 2024 as an example in ClickTip, you have the big advantage that the database works based on day. This means that when you create a newsletter, you can select different attributes that the recipient should have. For example, you could say the recipient has the attribute, has bought product A, has bought product B, and has not bought the attribute product C. So you can cluster very precisely who gets this email, when and how. That's exactly what we're doing now. We first select all customers, so all those who have the tag customer and those who haven't bought product C. This could be a starting condition. To all customers who have not bought product C, because the special offer goes exactly over product C. We can now write that down again. Next, before we save, there is a sensational function here, namely the split test function perform. Click here once and then a very small menu opens. There's a lot of power in it because you can perform a split test here. That is, you test different versions of an email or a subject line against each other and send the winning version to the entire rest of the mailing list. What does that mean exactly? Imagine you have two different emails and one gets a 20% open rate and one gets a 25% open rate. Now let's say, of course, it's only 5%, but it's 5% more open rate, 5% more open rate with 1,000 recipients. With 1,000 recipients ensures that you really have a lot more readers who, of course, can also order the product in the end, and 5% is not uncommon. There are definitely tests that we do where emails with 10 or 5%. Cut 10% more open rate and thus generate completely different results. First of all, you define the test size. That is the size of the database that is used here for the test as an example in order to understand the whole thing mathematically. You have 10,000 receivers that fit exactly this setup here. For 10,000 recipients, we would have a test size of 20%, which is 2,000 recipients, which are now being used for this test. So if we have two variants, 1,000 recipients would get variant A, 1,000 recipients would get variant B, and then the remaining 8,000 would get the winning version of both. We can also easily change this test size here with the slider. So we could also say, for example, we take a database size of 30,000 recipients, a test size of 30%, i.e. 3,000 recipients, which are now divided into several versions, for example, into 3 versions. Then 1,000 would get A, 1,000 B, and 1,000 variant C. Then we have the setting here. How much time do we give this test? For example, we can say we send the first email at 6 in the morning and then 5 hours later, i.e. 11 hours a.m., we would send the winning version to the rest of the database. Here too, we can select not only hours, but also days or months. For a database, like in this example, 1,000 recipients get a split version, it makes sense to wait 56-78 hours. Of course, we want a valid result. If we only wait an hour, then it may be that not everyone has opened the email yet and we jump to a conclusion where it may not be valid yet. Below, we have the winning version to choose from. We can test different things against each other. We can say, for example, we test which variant gets the most openings. Here in such a test, definitely the content of the email should be completely identical. Only the subject line or the sender should be different. We can also test a variant with the most clicks here. Then the sender and subject should definitely be identical, but the email text can be different. The email design could, for example, compete a template against a text email or a short text against a long text. We also have the option to track the variant with the most conversions or the highest turnover. If you click on this, you will generate a tagging pixel, which you will then embed on your order page. Then you can even measure here which email leads to more sales, and the email with the highest sales will then be sent to the rest. We now generate a variant with the most openings because in this example we want to test the subject line. Now I click on Create Newsletter and we can get started directly. Once on Split Test Variant, now I create the first version of the email here, and I can do that easily here via the email editor. And if I don't know exactly how I want to text the whole thing yet, I just use the text AI that is available in the click tip. That means I just drag the smart copywriter in here and now give the smart copywriter a text briefing here. In this example, I would do the whole thing so that we have an online shop and we now want to sell a cushion set to match the sofa we sold. You have an online shop for sofas, armchairs, and accessories. You want to offer a cushion set at a special price to customers who have bought a sofa from you. This cushion set is beautifully designed, high quality, and ensures more seating comfort. Write a newsletter with this special offer. The special offer is 25% off this week. I click on Create Text, and the text AI starts creating this text in the background. The text AI from ClickTip has now thrown out a suggestion for exactly this email. As always, I'm a bit impressed. Click here now on Insert Text and paste this text directly into the email like this. So now I can, of course, easily adjust the text here. For example, I could make a hello first name out of dear customers. That means we address the reader here personally. And as you can see here, the email is really about someone having already bought a sofa or an armchair has, and we are now giving him a discount. Now I can, of course, also include the link to the offer or a picture of the sofa cushion set, which is really suitable in this example. And then I can generate the subject line as a whole. Also for this click tip offers me a text Kyle. I click to simply generate suggestions on the hit line and now get suggestions generated here immediately. And then I take it here now. That catches my eye. Don't miss our special price for the cushion set. Take suggestions, save subject, and already I created my newsletter with ClickTip. It could hardly be easier. I now go to share here and can now go back to the settings here. The first email is ready, and now we have to generate a split test. And now I do nothing other than this first email we have here to duplicate. So I just click duplicate. I now have variant B here immediately and can simply click edit here in variant B. I can either manually retext the subject myself here, or I can of course go back to the email editor and can simply make a new suggestion from the text AI by clicking on the pen again at the top here, say generate suggestions. And Zach, we have new suggestions here again, and now I'll just try it with you. With this one, I go to apply suggestion, save subject, again to share, and I'm done. And now I have created a newsletter with two versions, two different subject lines that run against each other. And now I only have one thing to do, namely the sending time in the click tip. I can, of course, choose the shipping time to immediately or to a time in the future. That is, I can now choose a specific date and time here. We decided that the email will be sent out at 6 a.m. I select the appropriate week and set this email to be sent on that date at 6 a.m. If I now click on Save, ClickTip also calculates how many recipients received the email today. Of course, if more people come to my database in the meantime, then they will also receive the email, provided that the tags are suitable for you. I now click on Save, and then the whole thing is suitable. Prepared. Of course, I can also send the email immediately if the time is already today. It's so easy to create a newsletter with ClickTip. I hope you liked this tutorial. Give me a thumbs up, then you will also get more tutorials, and leave me a comment there and tell me what was a good learning for you or what question you still have about ClickTip if you don't have a ClickTip account. Yet I also pack the order link for ClickTip directly into the description if you don't just want to send individual newsletters but want to know how you build a concept out of it. Recipe that no longer invalidates your newsletter, but fully automated in the background your prospects with high